editions. Like Microsoft, they're releasing different flavors or maybe different editions. We can say that Enterprise Edition, Standard Edition, Business Intelligence Edition, Express Edition, and Development Edition. Right. So these are the available editions we have for SQL Server. Like SQL Server 2016 is having Enterprise Edition, Standard, Business Intelligence Edition, and Developer Edition. Right. So the same way 2019 and then 17 as well. So here the difference is cost and features. So enterprise edition will support all features, and again when it comes to the cost or price, it's a more price than any other editions in SQL Server. Standard edition and business intelligence edition. So mostly in real-time environment we can see the enterprise edition or standard edition. So these are the editions we can see mainly. So like if you want to use all enterprise features, so then we must go to the enterprise. If you don't want, if it is a mid-range application or maybe a low-level application, or then we don't want to spend much price for that particular software, buying the software, then we can go for the standard edition, right? So later classes will understand what are the main difference between the enterprise edition and standard edition in terms to feature wise. Okay, so business intelligence edition. So generally business intelligence edition, so we are preparing to use for BI operations. Like here we have to understand we have two different type of databases. One is relational OLTP and the second one is the OLAP. Okay. So OLTP means for regular transaction, for simply defined, like if you wanna do the operations like seconds or minutes or maybe hours on regular basis, if you wanna do the updates on a database, we prefer to go for the OLTP, online transactional processing. So the second database is OLAP, online analytical processing. So mainly for storing the historical data or analytical purpose, if you want to store the data, then we prefer to use the OLAP. So mainly we will work on OLTP. So no need to much worry about OLAP databases. So OLAP, in the OLAP we have an option to view the data in the three-dimensional. For example, we're maintaining an organization, so we need to maintain our whole history, like maybe 10 years data, like for intends to analyze the employees count or business perspective. If we want to analyze those kind of data, we have to store the data somewhere. So the storing database, we can call it as a OLAP, right? So using the OLAP, we can generate the reports, analytical purpose, we can do that. So for doing the kind of operations, we prefer to use the business intelligence engine, mainly for extracting or loading the data, ETL we can call it. The second one is that uh, storing the data and then reporting purpose. So when you want to do these kind of operations, we can prefer to use the business intelligence engine. Again, so in every organization, so these operations are maintained by the different team. So the team we can call it as a MSBI team or maybe business intelligence team. So they are the responsible for all kind of reporting or extracting or analyzing the data. Those operations will be taken care by the MSBI team or BI team, right? If you want to do kind of operations, then preferable edition is business intelligence edition. And express edition is a free edition, but there is a lot of limitations. So if it is for testing purpose, we can use it. And the final one is that development edition. So before 2004, before 2000 SQL Server 2014 version, it is a cost wise. So if you want to use development edition, we need to get the license. From 2014 onwards, developer edition is also having same kind of enterprise edition features, and it is a free. So, but we should not use it for development. It's for any kind of business operations. If you want to use it for only the testing purpose, or if you want to develop your own internal kind of operations, then we can use the development edition. Again, if you're using the development edition, and if you don't, you install the development edition, and if you're doing the business kind of operation, like the developer edition is configured for online applications, again it is a we need to pay the price. I mean, we need to get the license for that. So that's mean before SQL Server 2014, Whether developer is using for testing purpose or real-time operations, we need to get the license. But from 2014 onwards, if you want to use it for only the testing purpose, no need to get the license. We can freely use it without any expiry date. Right? So this is the one of the best option for practicing or testing our operations. Right? So these are the editions available for SQL Server. And again, so like when it comes to the SQL Server software, so using the SQL Server software, we can do the different operations, like as I said, that OLTP, OLAP, and reporting. So these kind of all services, we can get it from only the single software exe file. So these here we can specify the services. We can divide the services. Those services means instance specific, instance unaware, instance aware, and instance unaware services. It means once you buy the Microsoft product or software, we can get the different services. The services we can use it for various operations. So the services are SQL Server and SQL Server Agent. These two services we are using for OLTP operations. Analysis services we are using for OLAP, analytical database. And the third one is the reporting services and full text services. These five we can call it as a instance specific services. That's mean whenever you want to install the services, we need to specify the name for this particular service. So we can install the multiple services in a single operating system. So when it comes to the instance unaware services, so these mainly we can call it as a connectivity related things, maybe application compatibility connections. For kind of purpose, we are installing the instance unaware services. So no need to specify the name for these services, and we can only install only one service for an operating system. We cannot install the multiple unaware services in a operating system. We can only install one. So notification services, integration services means ETL tool, loading or extracting or loading kind of operations we can do using integration services. SQL Server browser, SQL Server active directory helper, SQL Server writer. So these are all internal connectivity, application connectivity. Simply you can call it as a developer tools. Okay, and these are the main services. So using these services, the operations will be performed. Like when customer is saying that I need OLTP, then we have to select the SQL Server and SQL Server agent services. If they request for analysis service OLAP, then we have to select the analysis services components. The same for reporting services and full text services. So just understand what are the instance specific and instance unaware services. So in the installation topic, we'll get to know more about these services. So during the installations, I will explain about these services.